Hi, welcome to How to Have a Wedding as Individual as You Are, the podcast. Based on my book of the same name, this podcast is here to help you have the wedding of your dreams and not the wedding that other people are putting pressure on you to have. I'm Ross, I'm a wedding photographer passionate about embracing diversity and equality in the wedding industry, and each week I'm going to be talking to different experts to help you plan the wedding of your dreams. So regardless of who you're marrying, where you're marrying and how old you're going to be when you get married, sit back, relax and find out how to have a wedding as individual as you are. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of How to Have a Wedding as Individual as You Are, the podcast. Today we're talking all about speeches, whether it's writing a speech or delivering a speech at a wedding. I know it's something that fills a lot of you out there with nerves because you haven't done it before. And we've already touched a little bit on dealing with anxiety and lack of confidence when we spoke to Emma McNally, all about NLP and how that can help you. And we spoke briefly to Emma Mills a little bit about readings and about speaking from the heart and speaking with the right intention. But we're going to get right to the nitty gritty today and give some real practical tips on how to deliver the perfect speech and how to nail that best man speech or groom speech or bride speech, whatever it is you've got to say, stand up and say on the big day. We're going to help you to do that today. Now, I'm not an expert in speeches, but luckily I know somebody who is, and she is sat opposite me with a lovely smile on her face. And that is Kayla Conley. So Kayla, introduce yourselves and tell us why you're an expert on public speaking.
Well, thank you for inviting me on this amazing session today, Ross. I am now in my 40s and I call myself the expert because it has taken me years to hone these skills. The very first time I stepped on the stage or a podium or what we call the rostrum in Jamaica, I was only 10 years old.
Wow.
And very nervous.
I bet.
And the priest asked me to do the reading because the older girls were moving on to college.
Okay.
And they need younger ones to learn how to stand and read in church. And I was really nervous.
Understandably so, yeah.
I was very scared and I kept showing up. Some days it was okay. Some days the priest would really roll his eyes at me because he realized I wasn't keeping up with things, or I forget to say that what the responsorial psalm was.
Oh, okay.
But the big day came when it was Palm Sunday and I read from the wrong page.
Oh no.
I knew it was wrong. My father was there with his camera all ready to take the perfect photo.
Oh no.
I saw when Father Brian looked at me and I screamed out, "Mr. Bramwell, can you please help me?" I knew I was in trouble. I knew. And it was the toughest lesson I learned because he told me off and I had to find something within me to get back up there again.
Yeah, and get back up there you did, and now it's what you do for a living.
Yes. I have been really fortunate that Father Brian taught me a very valuable lesson.
Okay.
Even though it was so painful.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson of preparation.
Right, okay.
Preparation.
So we'll probably come back to that.
Yes.
As one of the main tips later on. Yeah,
yes.
Fantastic. So today, by the end of the discussion, we will have provided you some advice on writing a speech. We're going to give some tips on delivering a speech or a reading at a wedding. And we're going to share some information on appearing confident even if you don't feel it. Mm-hmm. Right. So we're going to ask Kayla a few burning questions, put her in the hot seat, no pressure. And find out a little bit more about what she does and why she's so well equipped to join us today to talk about speeches. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and the type of people that you help.
The type of people I help are professionals or business owners.
Right.
They're my main clients who really have that message, but they are lacking in confidence with how to deliver it, how to structure the message, or even sometimes where to put the story.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
A woman contacted me and it was just to help her with the story
Okay.
because she thought it didn't sit well.
Right.
Her instinct was right.
Okay.
And to get the real story, I really say to her, this is not the speech anymore.
Okay.
You're not talking to that audience in Germany. You're not there yet. You're going to talk to me.
Okay.
Tell me exactly what happened on that trip.
Right.
And I recorded it.
Okay.
So she could really hear her frustrations. She could hear the minute she felt relieved. She could put back that emotion in the story for a perfect delivery.
So she was so focused on the speech itself that she was forgetting what it meant, what the words meant to her and what the story meant to her.
Yes, public speaking is something very personal to all of us. And it shows up, we're all vulnerable.
Yes.
Even me.
Yeah.
We are all vulnerable and we think, should I say this thing about my life here? Should I say my daughter was naughty? Should I say my husband said this to me and I didn't like it?
Yeah.
And we always think, which part of the story should we really tell?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all of it.
All of it. Yeah.
all
And
of
then
it.
it's authentic. And then it, yeah.
Yes.
I think there's that fear of judgment, isn't it? That you're sort of putting yourself up there to be judged by these rows of sort of stern looking faces that are staring back at you. Absolutely. So you do one-to-one sessions and you do workshops, is that right?
Yes, I do one-to-one sessions, and my sessions always come where I say to the client, really, we work on what's lacking in you. Some people come and they have a really good steady tone.
Okay.
And some just can't put the story together.
Right.
I have one client, I said to her, what's your biggest issue? She said, I'm called to speak on for an hour and I'm fearful that I'll stand on the stage for 2 minutes and I'm done.
Okay.
And everything goes out of my head.
Right. I think that's quite a common fear, isn't it?
It
You're
is.
just going to forget what you're going to say. Yeah.
Thinking you're going to forget is a common, very common fear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that the one thing, because I was going to ask you next, actually, what's the number one either mistake that people make when delivering a speech or the number one problem that people come to you with? Is it that fear of forgetting what they're going to say?
I think lots of them really will remember what they're going to say. It's the judgment and the pressure of, will they love me? Will the people love me?
Yeah.
And as this lovely British woman said to me, what would happen if I fluff my words?
Fluff your lines.
Fluff your lines. How will I gain composure and get back on track?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that a little later on. Yeah, it's regaining that momentum, isn't it? And keeping going. Going. Absolutely. So what has been your proudest moment as a speaking coach?
My proudest moment, I remember working with my very first client.
Okay.
He's an IT guy.
Right.
We couldn't be more opposite.
You're not an IT girl?
I'm not an IT girl. And I said to him, what would you like help with? He said, I have to deliver at a conference on CRM marketing. I think to myself, oh my God, I don't even know what CRM means. And he purchased the big service, the VIP service.
Right.
Because he wanted to learn everything that I know about public speaking.
Right.
And he was passionate. He wanted to shine on the day. We got ready. He looked at me, held his pen, and he said, what's the first thing I should write? He has never written a speech before. And when I figured out how to work with him, and I would give him homework, I said, I need you to go home, write 1,000 words and come back to me. I take him through off-the-cuff training.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll come into the room and I said, drop everything. I'm just going to take you through off-the-cuff training.
Right.
And he came up with some amazing nuggets.
Wow.
And we started to put that in the speech and it became less impersonal.
Yeah.
And on the day he delivered, he sent me 3 text messages just to say, I've done it. I've nailed it.
Wow.
I am so proud of myself.
Oh, fantastic.
And to work with your first client I'm not going to lie on this podcast. I did wonder, do I have it in me
Yeah,
to give people
that's
this?
very honest, and that we all think that, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
And when he texts me 3 times, I think, oh my gosh, no bloke has texted me 3 times in a day.
You knew you did something right.
Yes, so something went wrong. So, right, I should say. So that was a really, really proud moment.
Yeah, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So right from the start, you were helping people and people making a difference.
I'm
really
passionate about that.
Yeah, it really comes through.
I love helping people.
So we're going to talk specifically about speeches at a wedding.
Yes.
And one of the things you always say to me is about knowing your audience.
Mm-hmm.
So at a wedding, it might be a little bit different because if you'll say the best man, you might not know the audience, or you might know some of them. What would be your tips in terms of speaking to the audience in front of you?
For the best man, it's a tough call, especially if he's in the UK, because lots of drinks will be flowing.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
I think that's the toughest challenge for the best man.
Yeah.
But the biggest tip really is to get that speech ready before the date of the wedding.
Yes.
Don't wait until the week before.
No.
It's just too much pressure.
Yeah.
Get this out of the way maybe 2 months before if you can.
Yeah.
Understand the real key people in the room. Even though we may think they may not know who the people are in the audience, the best man has a good idea because he's usually the groom's good buddy.
Yes.
So you'll have friends from high school, friends he work with, colleagues, and his parents. He's very likely to know the wife's friends as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So once he starts putting key things like holidays or birthday parties that were some real highlights in terms of highs and lows, he's building a structure there right away. He's building a story
from those milestones and those points.
If he said, I met Ross the very first time at kindergarten or infant school, everyone think, wow, they've known each other for years.
So you're giving that context straight away.
Yes. And, you can mention when he met this person's parents, they invite him around for dinner, and you really take people on a journey.
Through. Yes. What about, I think there's a lot of pressure to be funny. Do you think that you should always inject some humour into a speech, or do you think you should just stick to your own personality? Because I've seen quite a lot of speeches. So some are quite heartfelt and quite deep and produce a lot of sentimental tears, which is great for a photo. Some are quite funny, and then some people try to be funny and it doesn't work. So what are your tips on injecting humour? Is that a good thing to sort of incorporate, or not necessarily?
It's not necessary. Anytime we speak from the heart, that's always enough.
Right. Okay.
I will confess to you, I've tried to be funny. I've tried to tell jokes and they never work.
Okay. Well, that surprises me because you're very light-hearted and we always have a laugh when we meet up.
Yes. So if I share my experience with you, you will laugh.
Yes.
But if I go somewhere and read a joke, for example, from maybe Bob Monkhouse book or something, and I'm ready to tell it again, it never works.
Because it's not from you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's about being authentic.
Yes, because our words carry energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice thought. Words carry energy.
They do.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
do. So anything comes from you that's in alignment with the quality of friendship you had with the best man, the people in the room, that's where the real story comes from.
Oh, that's a really powerful tip, I think. Yeah. So I know a lot of people, I mean, you can buy books on writing a speech, and I can tell when people have gone on the internet and sort of downloaded a generic template. Do you think there's ever a place to use something like that as a starting point, or do you think that takes away from the personal story, so to speak?
We all have to start somewhere, and we all need to learn. When I started out, I used to panic as well, thinking, I don't know how to write a speech.
Yeah.
And it's something that you have to give real time and space. Write 5 minutes, leave it alone. Come back in for another 5. Look and see if the sequence is making sense.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a best man speech. Which part will you highlight first?
Yeah.
Is it the day he got drunk and was carted off somewhere? Or was it the first day you met at kindergarten?
Yeah.
How do you want to structure this journey?
Yes.
To right up to his wedding day. So speeches must have a logical structure.
Yes.
Or else everyone will just get lost.
Yeah.
And start drinking more.
Yeah, and not listen. Yeah,
Not
go off to the
listening.
bar.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so just sort of little bits at a time in terms of writing. That's a good tip.
And
Don't feel
let it flow in your heart. I used to say this to a fellow speaker at my speaker club. He would say to me, when will you write the next speech? And I would say to him, it hasn't come through yet.
Okay.
And it's laughable. Or I would laugh at myself in my 20s about this.
Okay.
But I remember the day I wrote about summertime at Granny's house.
Oh.
Everyone loved it. And it's because I waited for it to come to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I suppose that comes from planning in advance. So if as soon as you know you're going to have to do a speech, obviously you're going to have a deadline, so you can't wait to infinity, but you've got more time to write on the occasions where it comes to you.
Yes.
And on days where it doesn't come, you can
What to
leave
take
it. Whereas
out.
if you leave it, I suppose, to 3 or 4 days, you've just got to have to write anything.
Yes.
You don't want to get to the point where you're just putting anything down to say anything.
And find out how long you should really be there.
Yes.
Don't overstay your welcome.
Yeah. Some people do.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't overstay your welcome. But a tip for the best man that you might not like on this audio is maybe it's good to have spritzers. if it's a long day.
Yeah.
Yes, don't get yourself so drunk. And you think, oh my gosh.
Pace yourself.
Yes, I've forgotten my lines. I'm going to let everyone down. That's when the burden of being the best man starts showing out.
Yes, that's true.
And the groom wants you to really shine on the day. Everyone is looking forward to this speech.
Yeah.
Which makes it full of pressure, isn't it? You feel pressured. But if you pace yourself and don't get too drunk, it should go well.
Yes. And I've seen quite... I've done a few weddings this summer where they've had quite a lot of speeches from different friends, different family members, because I think that we're always on this podcast about embracing traditions, but breaking away from them as well and having a wedding that's really unique to you. So it's not always a case of best man, groom, father, the bride. You know, sometimes there isn't a bride, sometimes there's 2 brides. So, it's not always that. But if you know who else is doing a speech, do you think sometimes it's good to just, if you can, connect with them? Because I've seen someone start their speech and been like, oh, they've just said what I was going to say, or do you think it's good to sort of coordinate if possible?
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I really think so. You don't repeat the same thing.
No,
and not only that, the energy between the 2 people, it will feel like they've gelled. Yes. And it will really add to the character and how special the day will be. Or is.
Brilliant.
It's good to meet.
Yes.
It is good.
Yeah.
Because someone may say, well, you remember when we did this?
Yeah.
And the outcome, you could share that story and I could share this one.
Yes.
And before you know it, you're delivering 2 separate situations or aspects.
They give a whole picture of the couple. Yeah.
So it's good to meet.
Good to meet and get together. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, brilliant. What about the vocal kind of technical skills? So if they have written from the heart and they've spent lots of time doing it and it's going to be a really authentic delivery, if somebody hasn't stood up in front of a crowd before, just in terms of projecting their voice and how to stand, what tips do you have for that?
My tip would be to practice before the day.
Right.
And really get a feel of who you are. Some people have very sensitive necks, and we
Right.
have to protect our necks like an opera singer.
Okay.
Some of us do. Some get mucus stuck in the throat,
Right.
and we have to be aware of what we're like.
Okay.
So the first thing is, if it's a cold day where it's a winter, say it's winter,
Yeah.
this wedding is a winter wedding, really put on your scarf. Keep it on and keep the vocal cords warm until
Okay.
you get up there. If it's a very early morning wedding, you can warm up your voice before you go into that room, so you don't sound like Barry White.
Oh, it's quite like a Barry White speech.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't mind that.
So when you say warm up your voice, is that just from talking, or is that sort of drinking anything?
You can do it from talking if you will be in a room with people.
Right.
If there's no one. In the Caribbean, a morning wedding is a morning wedding.
Right.
Maybe it starts at 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
Because the sun can get
Oh,
so hot.
okay, of course.
So when they say a morning wedding, they really mean it. And in a situation like that, you can hum a song
All right.
just to warm the
it up.
cords
Yeah.
up before you do any talking.
Lovely.
Yes.
So practice is really important.
Yes, prepare.
Yes, and time it, I suppose, as well.
Time it. Know how long you are there for. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the day when you're delivering, is there a sort of anything you can do with your body to project your voice, or you might be quite meek and mild? And I think the worst thing, I've heard people that are quite quiet, and then people shout, "Speak up."
Okay.
And that seems to really throw them then, because they're like, "Oh."
That's a bit unfair.
Yeah, well, it was unfair on them, to be fair. But is there a posture that helps you sort of carry your voice forward? Or?
What I always recommend is staying as close as possible to the audience.
Right.
But be aware of the room.
Yeah.
If doors are opened, and that's the thing with weddings, sometimes you see someone taking a young child to the toilet.
Yeah.
This is happening. The wine glasses are clanking.
Chinking, yeah.
And it's very distracting. If you don't have a microphone, stay as close as possible, either right in the middle of the room or as close as possible to the audience.
Okay. Yeah.
And really, really, if you want, you can ask them, can you hear me at the back?
Okay.
Yes, just do that.
Just as an icebreaker almost.
Yes,
yeah.
just say, can you hear me at the back? But I'm hoping that if it's a wedding over 40 people, there will be a microphone in the room.
Yeah, there usually is. Yeah.
Yes.
So that helps. What about speed? Because I know if I'm talking, if I'm nervous, I rush.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just a case of practicing and slowing down, or when people come to you and they do a speech, do you find that people rush through it the first time and they have to actively slow down and pause in between words? Or?
That's linked again to nervousness.
Right.
It's linked to nervousness. It's feeling incomplete, and it goes back to the judgment.
Yeah.
Of if I can just do this quickly,
it's done
and leave. It's done. And what I do, I encourage my clients to see who is in the room that really means something to them.
Right, okay.
Yes. Why are you standing there?
Yeah.
You have given up time to prepare it. You have bought a suit. You want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And working on that mindset, they understand that once they show up in a steady and calm manner.
Yeah.
And when they look back at this day, 3 years from now, or even 6 months from now, they will feel good that they represented themselves well.
Yeah.
So that's what
Excellent.
I work on.
Okay.
Once you realize that I'm standing in my power today, I love my friend, I love being here, I want to support him on this day or her on this day, and be a part of this amazing occasion.
Yeah.
Everything will start coming down.
Yeah.
That need to, oh my gosh,
yeah.
I just need to go.
Once you logically talk yourself through it, and you know, whether if you're delivering the speech at your own wedding, obviously everyone's there to support you and love you, and it's not like you're trying to sell something or persuade people to do something. So
which is harder.
Which is harder, yeah, absolutely. So even if people there's sort of a double edge to it, isn't it? Because sometimes at wedding people don't listen or are too busy talking. But on the other hand, they're not there judging you. You know, they might be if you're at a conference or, you know, doing something business wise. But, you know, if you've never done it before, no one's really going to give you a hard time.
They're very much on your side.
Yes.
They are really there on your side.
Willing you on. Almost.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always a place just full of love and smiles.
Yeah, it is. Everyone's happy. Everyone's looking their best, feeling their best.
We can all overindulge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stuff our faces with cakes and drink
absolutely.
too much. But,
a quick question for you. One of many. I keep asking you questions. Another quick question for you. Sometimes people do the speeches before they sit down to eat, and some people do them afterwards. Are there pros and cons to either? Yes.
There are pros, and if the speeches are done before, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Because you can enjoy your meal.
Yeah.
Some people have problems with wind.
Oh, okay.
And we don't know if broccoli will be served.
True.
Yes. You have the broccoli, you have the wine, you see the food coming out, you're salivating, and I'll tell you, it is hard. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So it's easy for you to maintain your sugar levels.
Right, okay.
Do your bit.
Yeah.
And speak, because food in the mouth causes other, when residue is
that's
left,
true. Yeah.
that bit of broccoli that you might be photographing in someone's teeth.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bit of beef stuck somewhere else, and you think to yourself, if I could just get this out, yes, I'll have a good time, like my audience or the people at the wedding. So I would, if I had a choice, I would recommend that the speeches go first and then the food and the drink after.
And then just enjoy it. Oh, good. Really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't even think of that. And that must make such a difference.
Food can cause problems on the tongue.
Yeah.
And if you think you sit at a table, you just want to have fun with your friends and relax. The glass of wine is there.
Yeah.
But you can only sip it.
Yeah.
And you just want to guzzle that thing. You just want to think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And once you've done all the speeches, you can, and everyone can relax. That's true.
So it's different for everyone. I've seen speakers who turn up and eat and they rack up, but we all have different digestive systems.
Yeah.
And some of us are slow and sluggish, and some of us get gassy.
Nice and down to earth on this podcast. Yes. We like it. Excellent. Are there any other little tips? You mentioned a little bit about, if you're feeling nervous, and just remember that it's a place of love, without sounding cheesy, but everyone's there to support you and they're on your side. Are there little things you can do to appear confident even if you don't feel confident? Things like eye contact?
Yes, eye contact is good. Working on your gestures, and really go into that room and stand there, if it's even for 1 minute.
Okay.
Yes. If you want, you can close your eyes. If you want, you can keep your eyes open, but be there before anyone else in the room.
Okay.
Yes. And you'll see yourself there. So the next time when you're introduced to come and deliver your speech, you were there before.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were there before, and you can do this anywhere. Anywhere you are, you go and you hold yourself and the audience. You know you will be fine.
Brilliant.
Yes. But one additional thing is never wear uncomfortable clothing.
No.
Anything that doesn't fit, even the shoe, the socks, whatever it is, don't bother.
So instead of imagining your audience naked, just get naked yourself.
Just get naked yourself.
So you're nice and comfortable.
But
then nobody will be listening to what you say anyway.
Well, that's true. That is true. There is a book called I Can See You Naked.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. But it's for me to read and help my clients.
Is that a genuine tip that helps imagining people? Is that because it puts you in a position of power, I suppose, or you're seeing them as vulnerable as...
It's like a visualization.
So it's like a leveler.
You could visualize before you get there.
Right.
But many times we don't know what the venue is like.
No. That's the thing, isn't it? Because visualization is a really powerful tool, isn't it?
And you can still do that.
Yeah.
But most of the times we just don't know where the venue is.
Yeah.
So when you get there, just have a feel of the room. Know that you really need a microphone if the ceiling is high.
Yeah.
Because the sound will just go up.
Yeah.
Make sure the doors are closed.
Yeah.
So that your energy stays in.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes, that becomes your zone there, and you can really connect with those people. When doors are opened, we have distractions, we have noise from outside, and your voice goes through those doors.
Gets lost.
Yes, it gets lost.
Fantastic. Well, that's lots and lots of tips. So we'll do a little bit of a summary. We've helped you to... What have we helped you to do? Provide some advice on writing a speech. Leave plenty of time.
Yes.
Start with some milestones. Do it sort of 5 minutes, and then if you're not feeling up to it or in the mood, come back to it. So it's not like you have to write it all in one go. So that was a really good tip. And be authentic, wasn't it? It was just do it from the heart.
And understand how long you really need to be there.
Yeah.
Because I think a best man speech is usually maybe 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Enough.
That is
even
enough.
Any speech doesn't need to be longer than
you
that,
could
does
even
it?
take the audience through decades of friendship.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice
when
one.
When you see your friend looking mature enough to say he's now in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's now in love, or she's now in love. And the kind of person he was at high school versus what he's like now.
Yeah.
And how your friendship has blossomed.
Yeah.
And there's so much you can put in a best man speech.
Yeah. And even as a bride or groom or parent, obviously there's people you want to thank on the day, and parents or bridesmaids or ushers or whoever it is. So
get their names in the speech.
Get their names in. Yeah, that's important.
Get that in. And really think about where you'll put it.
Yes.
Sometimes we get so nervous, we just step on, grab the microphone, and we start thanking people.
Yeah.
Have you seen that before?
Yes, definitely.
And it throws you off because they're thinking, okay, we know you're here, we know what you should do, but why are you thanking me already?
Yeah.
And it's good to pace yourself and really put that at the end, in your closing.
Do the thank yous in the closing.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell your story and then bring it around to the thank yous.
Yes.
Brilliant stuff. What else did we say? So check if you need a microphone.
Yes.
If it's a big room, if there's a high ceiling, you will need a microphone. If not, get as close to the audience as you can.
Yes.
Eye contact is always good. Remember that people are there to support you.
Yes.
Focus on why you're there. You've been asked to do the speech, or it's your own wedding, so people are there to love you and want to hear what you say.
Take your comfort break.
Yes, take your
Can't talk with a full bladder.
No, that's it. Get a comfort break. Yeah. Speeches before dinner can be better because then you can enjoy your dinner. Then you haven't got to worry about digestive issues or things in your mouth or burping or anything like that. Yeah, that's a really nice practical one. Confidence wise, just practice what you're saying, slow down, pace yourself, wear comfortable clothing.
Yes.
Brilliant. So that's some really good tips. I hope that's helped. I think the main thing to take away is to be authentic. So don't just go online and copy a speech and just insert names here. That's never going to come across.
That won't work.
No. And if you're funny, you can be funny. If you're not, don't try to be.
Don't try to be, exactly.
And vice versa, I suppose. If you're not someone that's comfortable, even if it's your wedding day, if you're not a really deep gushing person, don't force yourself to be, because they're not.
That will be an act.
That would be an act, yeah. And you're not your partner, your other half, is marrying you for who you are. So if you suddenly start changing during the speech into this blubbering mess, they'll be like, "Hold on a minute,
my God.
That's not who I vowed to spend the rest of my life with." So yeah, just be true, whoever you are, whether you're a parent or a friend, just stay true to you.
Yes.
Because that's why they've asked you to give the speech, isn't it? They haven't said, can you give a speech, but can you be like somebody else?
Exactly.
Can you give the speech? So that's really important.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. So Kayla, what we need... Oh, one question I've got to ask for you. Either as a guest at a wedding or your own wedding, if somebody had told you something, or a word of advice you could give to someone before their wedding day, it doesn't have to be about speeches, it can be about anything. What one tip would you give to our couples that are listening getting married?
The tip would be to really understand relationships at a deeper level.
Okay. Nice
Simply
one.
because I've seen life where it's a beautiful wedding day. We have worked years to put on this day. We have the flowers, we have everything. But no one said to you, well, one day your partner might get ill and you'll have to think differently. You'll have to act kindly.
Yeah.
You'll have to go out of your way to sustain this relationship.
Yeah, you have to
No
work
one
at it.
says one day you might lose your job. So what do you celebrate each day in marriage? What do you celebrate to sustain it and always remember that amazing day? So
That's a fantastic tip.
So it's growing and learning about relationships.
And you know, I say it time and time again, and I write about it in the book.
Yeah.
It's about perspective and that difference between a lifelong marriage and a wedding day. And there's so much focus on that wedding day.
Yes.
And I'll keep repeating myself, but a really good tip I always give is to plan things beyond the wedding day.
Yes.
What do you want to achieve in your first year of marriage, your second year of marriage? What do you want to do to get there? And again, it is being aware that you might lose your job. One of you might be ill. There will be difficult times. It's not going to be one long honeymoon. No, it's not all sunshine. Absolutely. So, I think that's a really good tip to understand what it is you're entering into.
Yes, and a wonderful woman who does counseling, she said to me, lots of us, we did not see the model of a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And that's what we put into it when we just model what we saw.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not right or wrong. It's really how to get the best out of each other.
Yeah.
And be each other's cheerleaders.
Oh, be each other's cheerleaders. That's a perfect way to end.
My pom-poms.
I'm going to get some pom-poms when James comes home tonight and be like, what on earth are you doing? I'm like, Kayla said I've got to be your cheerleader. I've done a rhyme. I'm going to do a somersault for you. It's all going off.
Fabulous.
Metaphorical cheerleaders.
Yes,
but
okay.
Yes, no, we like that. That's brilliant. Okay, so tell everyone, somebody might be listening and think, oh, I need that woman in my life, whether it's to do their wedding speech or they're in business and they need you. How can they get hold of you and find out all about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn and you can find me on Facebook. I have a business page called Kayla Conley Public Speaking, and my website will be launched very, very soon.
Oh, exciting.
And it's kayla@kaylaconley.com. I am so excited.
Brilliant. I can't wait. And I'll put a link when we share this podcast as well. As ever, I've been Ross Wilshire. You can find me at www.rosswilshirephotography.co.uk. My email is info@rosswilshirephotography.co.uk, and you can email me about anything wedding related, about this podcast, or if you'd like a copy of my book signed, you can contact me on that email. Otherwise, you can buy it. That's the easier way of saying it. You can get it. You can get it on Amazon UK, Waterstones online, Barnes and Noble. And if you're local to Chelmsford, it's in your local Chelmsford Waterstones as well. That was a proud moment for me. I'm on all the social media networks. But thanks again, Kayla. You've given some wonderful tips. It's been lovely seeing you and having you here. And we'll see you next time. Happy wedding planning, everybody.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ross.
No problem.
Wow.